Ladies and gentlemen, voters of New Orleans, I'd like to introduce you today to Mr. Belden Noonie Man Baptiste. He is running for the position of Councilman District D. Belden, tell us about District D.
Well, District D is a district that consists of Chef Endowment, which is the New Orleans East, is a part of Lakeview, is a part of 7 Ward, 8 Ward, 9 Ward, Gentilly, Pontchartrain, Gentilly, Terrace, and so that's District D. And so District D is a big district I consider that needs assurance and help. And at the end of the day, I decided to run for councilman for District D because I was tired of the criminal neglect.
I've driven through District D on many occasions. One of my grandsons goes to school in District D, and I've hit many a pothole, and I've seen many an overgrown lot here and there, seen some neglect. How do you view that the city has responded to the petition of the people to get these things fixed?
I think they haven't responded. If I had to give them a grade, I'll give them an F, because we know 20 years disaster came to the whole city of New Orleans. And when you look at the 9th Ward, that's where the disaster hit the hardest, because the levees filled. And when the levees filled, it filled the people in the 9th Ward. We know we came up on Katrina anniversary, and when we look, people has lost their lives. But when we look around, we see the same thing, like you're saying, the potholes. We see light poles down. We see abandoned lots. We see the infrastructure having work. And then the big problem they got a problem right now in the 9th Ward that nobody's talking about. The walls are leaking. So by the walls are leaking, the Corps engineers know it's a problem, but they haven't brought it to the people. So what I'm afraid of, that the walls gonna fill at some point, and then we're gonna have something just like another Katrina, Hurricane Katrina, But when you look, the city has filled for the last 20 years, no matter who the mayor has been, because at the end of the day, the people deserves better in the city of New Orleans.
The people are paying the freight for the city to run itself, and they're paying taxes that are overly expensive. We've got the highest combined sales tax rate in the state. We don't collect all of the real estate taxes. We don't collect about $200 million of the sales tax that we're supposed to collect based on estimates provided by private entities. So this is one of the big beefs that I have with the city. The city is, as I've said classically, it's stuck on stupid. We talk about we need to bring jobs to the city. The city regulates Entergy New Orleans, and when you pay your bill, you send it to Baton Rouge.
Why
don't they have a collection office in Orleans Parish?
I agree.
When you send your Cox bill, it goes to out of state. Now, the city council regulates Delta Utilities, that Entergy New Orleans sold and created Delta Utilities. When you pay your Delta Utilities bill, it goes to Dallas. These are the same people at Delta Utilities that said, oh, we're going to keep the 600-700 jobs that people had in the city. We're going to keep those jobs right here. Yet you send the money to Dallas, Texas. Now, I've gotten a couple traffic tickets, and I've been doing 36 miles an hour in a 35-mile zone. Poof, $75 ticket. I've paid them. They go somewhere in Florida, Jacksonville, Sarasota, who knows. But when I pay my sewage and water board bill, it goes to the third or fourth floor of the St. Joseph Street building, and the checks get wet from the leaking ceiling, and I got to reprocess the checks at my bank because they can't clear them. So city is stuck on stupid. When you've got the little things that don't work, imagine how the big things can't work.
That's right.
And District D is a big thing. It's one of the biggest districts in the city. It's got a vast population, and it needs true leadership.
That's right.
And having known about you and watching you at city council hearings over the many years that I've taped, I know that you are a man of the people. You believe in the groundswell of popular support. You've got the ear of the people. They know you, they see you, they hear you. Tell me your approach to fixing District D.
My approach to fixing District D, first, is not to be stuck on stupid, like you said. But my approach to fix it is we got to fix the simple problems. Now, we got to give economic opportunities. That's number one. We got the port that's sitting there, right? But long time ago, when they had the port in the night, well, what it was, you had the longshoremen, you had the electrician, you had the plumbers, you had people going to work. So one of my approaches to District D is getting people trained. Making sure that we're using that port spot to train them to get career and skilled jobs. Because when you're getting people career and skilled jobs, they're bringing back economics because they got money in their pocket. But I love how you shared that all our department heads, money goes out of town. And it's a disgrace and unacceptable, because if we can keep that money here, that's revenue for us. We are paying third parties and paying consultants, paying lawyers and everything. And just like you saying, the money going out of town. Now, the people in District D, I have walked, I have heard their concern. They want good streets. They want safe roads. They want public safety. They just want to be assured that things going to be right. They want quality parks. We got a park in the Ninth Ward called Richard Lee Park. FEMA gave them $4 million, right, to fix the park 20 years ago. The park haven't been fixed. Nobody knows where the $4 million went. So we got to deliver people results and not promises. We don't need polished candidates. And that's what I'm not going to be, is a polished candidate. Now, I know people suffering. You brought up a subject of sewage and water board. That was a big one, because we was promised a lot of stuff with sewage and water board. We got 7 pumps, haven't worked for 20 years. A little rain come, is flooding in the streets. When we look at the infrastructure, and you go through Gentilly and you drive through District E, the streets and roads are messed up. And at the end of the day, the contractors have abandoned the streets. But the question is, if we didn't pay the contractors and we didn't gave them money, why nobody ain't holding them accountable at the end of the day? See, you get contractors fix streets, right? And what they'll do, they'll fix that street and you won't see them no more. So District D, when I talked to a lot of people, they was upset. And they was upset about the infrastructure, about the streets, about the potholes, paying 2 times for a trash pickup when they're picking your trash up once. And then they was upset about, just regular businesses coming to District D. So one thing I want to do, I want to take the regular businesses, making sure they can get their permits, because we got the permits office. And we know people have worked like 9 months, 10 months. Some people have been waiting 2 years. Now, we know the city permits office is failing, right? And we know they got bad leadership. So to what I'm telling the people at District D, I'm going to bring that leadership where we deal with the permits, where we deal with court enforcement. We know they're failing too. We just saw on the news that the city say they can't pay for the streetlights. And at the end of the day, that's poor management. So when we looking at that, that's one thing. But then on the news I saw, they say there's $100 million deficit, which at the end of the day, I think not true. And I'll tell you why. Because we didn't got Rescue Act money. We didn't got all this money from Washington, D.C., and the money is just sitting there, right? So if you're saying we're in $100 million deficit and we already got these money, the question is, why haven't the money been used? Why is the money just sitting there at the end of the day? But what I got in store for District D, I want to build District D. I want the residents to know it ain't going to take me 3.5 years to answer their text or email. I want the residents to know when they got me in, they got a leader, a true leader. I've been out here 30 years with a proven track record delivering real results. And that's all I want to do for the people. And no matter who's the city council, no matter who is the mayor, I'm going to fight for District D, but just not for District D, because when you're a city councilman, you fight city issues too. So I want to bring that leadership that was never brought before. And when they talk about you're going to be at the table, that's one thing to be at the table. But the other thing is to hear what the people saying and do what they want, because you work for the taxpayers. You don't work for the corporations. You don't work for these big contractors that's getting you corrupt money. You don't work for the people that getting you campaign donations. You got to deliver real results for people. And our young people, we got to show them. We got to find out what the root cause of crime. We see they talk about they're going to address crime, but how can all these millions and billions be coming here and the money is not making it to the young people? Young people are saying there's no programs, right? Now, we know we have a problem with NOLA recreation, but it ain't the director fault. Let me tell you what they did. They took NOLA money to build a third phase of the jail that the people told them they didn't need. And if we're going to keep taking money from our children, at the end of the day, they're going to be angry. So we got to address the real roots of the crime. It's like I tell people, like the pot of gumbo, right? In New Orleans, we are known for what? The best gumbo. But the roots, if you can't make a root to the gumbo, it ain't a gumbo, right? So the roots is what? The people. We are all people are the roots of the gumbo. And if we are not included in the gumbo, I don't care what you say, you got a sparrow pot of gumbo.
And that's why in my particular platform, I always talk about we need a groundswell from the people up to the government. The people are in charge of the government. The government is nothing more than the physical representation of our needs, desires, and our moral code and our own morality. What's important? Health, education, children, family, safety. That's what comes up from the people to the government. We do not need to have anything imposed upon the people that the people themselves don't want, don't need, or does disservice to them.
That's right.
And that's why I'm so concerned personally and professionally about the city's budget.
That's right.
Because the city council has basically three important functions. Mm-hmm. It controls zoning, it controls the city budget, it plans and implements the city budget, and it controls Entergy New Orleans and Delta Utilities. Three main functions.
That's right.
It's got minor ancillary functions. And, because people in the past would complain to City Hall and get no response or a very, very delayed response, they would start calling their councilman or councilwoman. So the 5 district councilmen and the 2 at large become like mini mayors. Mm-hmm. And the function of the city council is purely the legislative function. It's not the executive function. Mm-hmm. The executive function of the city lies in the mayor and the mayor only. Mm-hmm. The mayor, through his various department heads, the CAO, Department of Finance, you name it. They have one function, city council has another one. Those functions need to be separate to the extent that they can fulfill the requirements of the job, but they also need to collaborate to get things done. Because city budget in the mayor's office can't work unless both the mayor and the city council agree on the budget.
That's right.
And it is the council the current council and the one prior
Uh-huh.
that has actually voted for and therefore created these budget deficits that we've had for the last several years. It's the same city council that has agreed to and legislated $1.1 billion of bonded indebtedness that this city has, which costs the city almost $90 million a year to fund.
Mhm.
It's funding about $45 million just for the interest on the debt, and it's funding about $45 million paying down the principal. And I understand now there's the expectation on the November ballot that there's going to be a $400 million bond issue requested for the people to sign off on.
Yes,
Where's that money going to go?
that's
Is
right.
it for infrastructure? You think any of it's going to District D?
No, none of it's going to District D, and none of it going to infrastructure. We got a serious budget problem, and we got a serious financial problem, because when you look, FEMA gave them $2 billion for all the streets, right? And now they're saying they need $800 million more, right? But at the end of the day, you had the $2 billion and all the streets didn't get fixed. So why would I give you $800 million more to mess up the money? So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to figure out, Stevie Wonder can see somebody can't add or somebody can't run finance, because I'll give you one example. This would happen during the summer. For the last 5 summers, the summer youth children that works for the city of New Orleans didn't get paid.
Yep.
It's 1 month, they had to wait, and they still didn't get paid. But about 2 years ago, they waited 3 months, right? So the children in working in August, they got their checks in November. And at the end of the day, they know it was a finance problem. So every time we look, everything is what? Finance. When you look at the $2 billion, finance. They can't do the street lights, finance. The contracts, finance. So at the end of the day, we need somebody to come in and fix the problems that's going on. But when you talked about something I'm passionate about, energy of New Orleans is a monopoly of money. And energy can throw all kind of money around to politicians. Now, politicians say they don't take the money, but you don't have to see it. They can put the money in somebody else's name and donate it to them. Now, when they sold our gas company to Delta Utilities, did they ask the people who they work for? No. They just cut the gas. Cut the deal, right? But who is Delta Utilities? See, people don't know who they is. I'm going to tell you, 20 years ago, the Shaw Group, the same man that owned the Shaw Group got Delta Utilities. So it was a corrupt deal. It was a scam deal. And at the end of the day, people are complaining about Delta Utilities because at the end of the day, on your bill, when you pay energy, you got to pay tax for this, tax for that, tax for that. Now, guess what? Delta is doing the same thing. So what you're doing, you're being double billed in the city of New Orleans. How could that be? Because if I paid them one time, why should I have to pay Delta Utilities the same fee? But at the end of the day, Delta said we're not going to go up on a people bill. Same thing Energy told us, they're not going to go up on a bill. So people are going to be trying to fight to pay the electric bill. But guess what? Now we about to have a bigger problem because Delta going to raise the gas bill. So now you're going to have 2 whammies at one time. So what we need is real leadership, somebody that can fix the budget, somebody that's not going to play. Now, when it comes down to the council gets its power for what? The home rule charter. But do they follow the home rule charter? No, they only use the home rule charter when it benefits them. Benefits them. You got it. So at the end of the day, when I look at the home rule charter, right, there are some things I see that the council can do. Because with the home rule charter, do you know? The people that didn't fix the streets, do you know we can subpoena them as a councilman, use the charter and hold a trial and deal with them and fire them right on the spot? Then we can go after the contractors that did the neglect and sue them. They talk about facial recognition, right? I'm against facial recognition because they say it's biased toward Black people. But guess what? I know what we can use facial recognition for. We should use facial recognition to get the contractors that ran off with our money from out of town for our streets, and then we find them and put them in jail. We got to make examples here. We got to stop playing the game that they play. All they're doing, helping their friends. Like you said it best. All our money go out of town to
It's about creating careers. And one of the items in my platform, I've identified a city asset that it's owned since probably 1912. It's worth about $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
The city gets about $200,000 a year of revenue from it. That's like a 1% rate of return. CDs at banks do a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
That asset is designed to benefit originally the Delgado Trade School and the Delgado Museum, which became New Orleans Museum of Art. And of course, Delta Trade School became Delgado Community College. Delgado Community College's main campus is in Mid-City. They sit on 65 acres of prime land in the heart of the city of New Orleans. Because you've seen that little sign, Mid-City, heart of New Orleans, at the corner of Bienville and City Park Avenue. My old neighborhood, 10 blocks away from my old neighborhood that I grew up in. That money can actually create a brand new building on that 65 acres, which would coordinate very well with your ideas about people working at the port, because it can learn to train people to be electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, HVAC people, crane operators, God knows what else. And it's all being done with money that the city already has, and it's sitting on it, and it's doing nothing with $200,000 a year.
That's right.
$200,000 a year doesn't pay the interest on the debt for a couple of weeks. So it's dead money. And that's one of the items in my platform that I'm producing forward so that we can think outside the box.
That's right.
Generate jobs that become careers. Because if we can get the port moving, then we can get more people to work, and we can take some of the abandoned buildings that, for instance, the city owns right on both Charters and Dauphine, because they the two streets are parallel, and they take into account the entire square, sitting right on the industrial canal. 2,200,000 square feet of land and building worth, according to the assessor's office, $80 million. Abandoned, 3-4-story buildings, useless, blighted, full of graffiti. My God, that could be housing for the elderly.
That's right.
That could be low rate rent, market rate rent. It could help improve the neighborhood right at the bottom of the upper Ninth Ward.
I agree. That is a great idea, and that's the idea you want to push forward. So if me and you can sit here and talk about it, why couldn't they do it? You see, that's too much like right, you know. And one of the other things I look at is our culture. I am a culture barrier. I come from the Baptiste family, little boy, being a Mardi Gras Indian, second line band, whatever you name as the culture barrier. Look, we bring in billions of dollars every year, but we take care of 63 other parishes. And they keep telling us about our fair share. We don't even get 10% of that money. But the 63 other parishes want to talk about New Orleans, but we feed them, right? But why can't we get our culture money and our real fair share of the money and take that same money? And if we're going to build one, like you say, on Delgado land, right? We can go in different parts of the city and build the same thing you talked about with the jobs and everything. That way, we are like satellite office. We have about 4 or 5 of them, and we're getting the people to training, just what you said. And guess what? When we do that, crime is really going to go away, because when people living in poverty, you got crime.
Because work brings dignity to the human soul.
And economic opportunity bring the same thing. So that's too much like right in the city of New Orleans, you know, because District D, when I walk District D, when I go in District D, I see the value you talking about in District D. They just need somebody to lead them. And and bring District D, and that's not going to cut no deals. Because look, we look at a lot of District D and citywide. What do? They cut deals for their friends and their family and let the people suffer every day. So we need real leadership where everybody is a part, bringing it for all, not just our family, not just our friends, not just the people give us the corrupt money. Build it for all.
So in other words, what you and I are saying is that we have a lot in common, particularly in the fact that neither you nor I have received any corporate money or any money from the big law firms.
That's right.
Isn't that amazing? We haven't gotten a dime from either of those, I bet.
That's right.
And you know what? And we're still here fighting for the people.
That's right. That's right. And we fighting from the people. We can be different parties, but what I try to tell people, when you unite with other people and great people, there's great people out there. We can't talk about the gatekeepers. We can't talk about the negative people. We can't talk about whatever they say, the races or whatever, but people can come together for the city of New Orleans that they love. People come all from around the world just to come to New Orleans. And with me, you saying, just think if we got a council, if we got other elected officials to build what we want.
That $9.6 billion they spend here every year, God bless them all.
That's right.
But let me tell you something. Give me your hand.
Mm-hmm.
When I cut my hand and you cut your hand, we both bleed red.
That's right.
And you know what? We also bleed red, white, and blue.
That's right.
And that's the important thing. Because, one thing that's missing in the educational system is patriotism. Our kids have just a smattering of civics education in the city.
Yeah.
They don't know the history of the city, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I'll grant you. They don't know a thing about it. They don't know what the neighborhoods are comprised of. You drop a kid in, 8th grade in the middle of the city and say, which way is Lake Pontchartrain? They've got no idea. Is it north? Is it south? Where's the river at? They've got no concept of the city, no concept of its boundaries, no concept of its people, no sense of history. And that's something I think we've got to start. And we start that, in pre-K. As soon as they can think, they can breathe, they can eat breakfast, and they can get out the house, they need to start learning. When I was a kid,
that's right,
by the grace of God, I learned to read at the age of 4. And I've read the Times-Picayune for the last 69 years plus. And I learned about this city. And that's what gave me this intense love of this city. I mean, look, my grandparents came to the city in the 1890s. We talk about the infrastructure. They laid the rails. They installed the sewer pipes. They dug the ditches. They laid the water pipes, which are 120 years old now. So my family history is inside this city. And that's why I'm so passionate about this place. I don't want to leave this place. I could leave here tomorrow. Would I be happy? No, because I'd be leaving part of my soul here. Just like you, your soul is inside this city. It's inside your brain. It's inside your heart. It's inside every movement you make when you walk across District D, because you love District D and you love the rest of the city too. You want everyone to be treated fairly, equally, and you want them to be treated as a human being, not black, not white, not yellow, not brown, or gray like me. Okay?
Yeah.
We want the city to be the servant of the people, not the other way around.
And that's the truth.
And that's your passion, and it's mine too.
And that's my biggest passion. But, sometimes I get up early in the morning and I might go walk the city park just to take a walk or walk around the community. And one of the biggest disappointments I see, children riding a bus at 5 o'clock in the morning with no air conditioning, no heat.
And no seatbelts.
No seatbelts or nothing. And then I see them going to school, being miseducated. But we're talking about educating the children, starting them off at 4 years old, 5 years old. And then they'll grow up and, like you say, have the sense, because where I came from, there was a freedom rider by the name of Jerome Smith. He taught me the values of life. At 14 years old, he put me in a leadership role, and we fought for the community. We fought with the community. And at the end of the day, I ain't scared of nobody in the city, Because if I got to go to Jeff Landry's office, I'll dance on top of his desk. I'll go dance on Trump's desk. But what we got to understand about the city of New Orleans, it's been too much corruption for many years. It's been too much scamming for many years. The people are hurting. The people are suffering. They're crying out for help, and they want better leadership. What I'm afraid of is that the people, if we don't get it right these next 4 years, the people, like you say, gonna start leaving. We done saw 20 to 30,000 people left, and they left the city of New Orleans because they couldn't afford to live here.
I often talk when I go to these forums, those that I am invited to, which have been few, not many, because, you know, the media wants to anoint the next mayor. The media wants to anoint all of the councilmen that are running and the two at large.
True.
One of my passions is to make sure that this city stays around for another 307 years.
That's right.
And when I'm mayor for 4 years, that's going to start the engine going. Because I do not want to write a eulogy for this city. I don't want to put the city inside of a funeral cart and bring it to its tombstone.
That's right.
I want to see the rebirth of this city. No eulogy, no mass for the dead. I want to see a rebirth, sort of a rebaptism of this city and its people.
That's right.
To make sure that they've got a unified people, a unified government that's productive.
That's right.
A government that works for the people, that's efficient and effective, and mostly one where the people know that the city has their back, because the citizens of the city are paying the freight for the city to run itself, to provide basic services, which we all need so badly. We need better streets. We need a better sewage and water board. You know, I don't want to have a 1-inch rain and then Broadmoor's got 3 feet of water in it. It's insane.
Right. And just like you said, when you look at the 7th Ward, 8th Ward, 9th Ward, uptown, downtown, Gertown, wherever, soon 1 inch of rain come, we flooding. The worst thing I ever saw was in the 8th Ward, I think, or the 9th Ward, somebody had a boat and we had 1 inch of rain, but the water had came up. And you think these officials will care? They don't care. What we got to do is revamp the Sewage and Water Board. You got to stop putting friends on there. You know, the mayor's in charge of the Sewage and Water Board, but we got members that been council people, or council people daughter, or elected daughters. No, we want to put everyday citizens. They don't want us on the board because they know we're going to watch those boards and commission. They know they can't do the corrupt stuff. So I'm saying put everyday people on those boards. We know what the problem is. We've been talking about, 7 pumps for the last 20 years. And you're going to tell me each year we couldn't replace one pump, this pump. But guess what? That ain't the problem. The problem is they're just patching and fixing and getting all these millions of dollars. And then we hear the turpin now, right? So they just built what? This Sewage and Water Board big plant, right? And it was supposed to be ready, what? For hurricane season. Right. And it's not ready, right? At the end of the day, I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of hearing it, because at the end of the day, we're struggling, we're hurting in the city, and we need real results. We need people in office that's going to take action. Look, the council member in District D, all he's good for a photo op. You know what I'm saying? Or signing a proclamation. People need more than that. People need to know that you care. People need to know that you're going to address the daily issues, you know. And then we got a big homeless population. We keep hearing about this, you know. We keep hearing we doing this, we doing that. One organization got $200 million for homeless, right?
I think that's Unity.
Unity. And at the end of the day, Unity been around for 30, and they done got billions of dollars.
And we still got 1,400 homeless people.
And they still haven't figured it out. But we know what the problems are with the homeless people. If you want to be homeless and you don't want a house, that means you got a mental illness. That means you need some medicine. We know we got people addicted on drugs that's homeless, right? We know we got people that need hospital and, you know, doctors and everything with the homeless. But they keep saying they're going to fix the problem, but that's all they're doing, telling a pile of lies. at the end of the day, we let them took Charity Hospital. Charity Hospital, I know a lot of people and their babies and children was born there. But at the end of the day, what we did, we let Tulane come in, gave them $20 million or $30 million. We could have took Charity Hospital, built a state-of-the-art hospital that deal with mental illness, mental issues, and everything. Nowhere in the city of New Orleans we got something that really deals with the homeless population, mental illness, or anything. We got little children right now. Little children hear gunshots ring every day. Some of them saw their mamas, their daddies died. Some of them saw whoever died, right? But do we ever address the children problems? A lot of children are going through stress. So we can use Charity Hospital to help them with their stress. But that's too much like right in the city of New Orleans. The citizens got to wake up, and it's time to vote new people in, because we've been doing the same old, and at the end of the day, they've been failing. One of the greatest mayors to me was Dutch Morial. And why I like Dutch Morial? Because he got action. And one more thing, his son was great, because when his son came in, they had a crime problem, right? And he brought Richard Pendleton in. So it looked like to me, if the police are having a problem, why not go back to Richard Pendleton plan with community policing? You had them in the community. You had officer friendly. You had good officers. And if we start doing the right thing and stop favoritism, nepotism, cronyism, and sexism, we'll get those 700 other police officers we need.
You've made excellent points. Excellent points. One of my concerns, and why I think this is a landmark time in our city's history. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change the composition of virtually the entire city council, because 4 of the 5 districts have elections. Only District B is unopposed. And we've got the 2 council-at-large races. This is a landmark time, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change the direction of this city. Didn't happen 4 years ago, didn't happen 8 years ago, okay? But now we've got that opportunity. And if we do not take charge of this opportunity and wrest the city away from failure, it's the only way we can make this city grow and prosper. I always talk about, we need to make New Orleans the Queen City of the South again, like it used to be in the 40s and 50s and early 60s, where the port was teeming with activity, with longshoremen and stevedores and crane operators and people hauling goods from the ships to the trucks, from the ships to the trains, unloading God knows what, wheat, coal, steel, automobiles. Where's that at now? Well, the banana business went to Mobile.
That's right.
The vehicle business went to the ports in Florida.
That's
it went
right.
to the ports along the Carolina coast, north and south. So we've got to reinvigorate that by creation of economic development. And with a $1.8 billion budget and not even a $2 million budget for the Office of Economic Development in the city of New Orleans, that's 1/10 of 1% of the entire budget. One of the other mayoral candidates said, oh, it's about 1% of the budget. Again, they can't do simple math. It's not 1%, it's 1/10 of 1%. It's like nothing, okay? So these are the things that we have to revisit, reinvigorate, rework, and reimagine. We've got to have some imagination in the race for council and the race for the mayor. It's just got to happen.
I agree 100% with you, and I agree, like they talk about the 2% housing trust deal, So when I look at that, I want to shout Leslie Harris out, because I got to give her props. She's been fighting, with the housing and everything. But to me, I don't think it should just be 2%. I think it should be higher. But when you talk about affordable housing, the city got all this property, something you touched earlier.
Yeah.
So why we're not taking this property, right? All these properties, spending money on blight, cutting the grass, this and that. We can be building houses for the city and give them to low income families and let them pay, a low income fee.
And it's not even the blighted houses. They've got blighted buildings. They've got blighted schools.
That's right. That's right.
That need development, redevelopment.
That's right. And so we should look at it holistic as a whole thing and do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like you said, we need the right leadership. We have had the leadership and they have failed. Some of them have been in office a very long time. You know what I'm saying?
The political dynasties, the entrenched politicians for the last several decades have not done anything to enhance the quality of life in this city. If anything, what they've done has been a sense of backwardness. It's been detrimental to the quality of life. And what it's done, it's turned the citizens off. It's made the citizens believe that the city of New Orleans, the government of the city of New Orleans, whether the mayor's section or the council section, is the enemy of the people. And it should not be the enemy of the people. It is the servant of the people.
That's right.
We, as citizens, as voters,
that's right,
run the city through our elected representatives, mayor and council.
That's right.
And we've got to maintain that mindset. And that's why we've got to appear like you've done multiple times at the city council.
That's right.
You're like the Thursday guru. When you get up there and you start talking about what you have on your mind, passion that's in your heart about real issues, they've got to start listening. And with a new council, you won't be on the side of the mic that says, Mr. Baptiste, you've got 2 minutes, sir.
That's right. You
have the mic in front of you, and you're not going to turn your mic off.
That's right. I'm not going to turn my mic off.
You've never met a mic you didn't like.
That's right. I like that. That's true, And one thing you touched on with these farms, my experience of some of these farms is that they're just trying to pay.
Thorn in their side.
That's right. That's right. So these forums, these debates, what I tell people, don't let them decide for you. You decide for yourself. You got to educate and organize yourself. You got to see what a candidate have done, what a candidate didn't do. Then you got to look at everybody platforms, but how these PACs, how these political machines, how these corporations, how the money people is doing. They're sending a narrative, like you said, of just one candidate or this candidate and how the media is doing. And at the end of the day, when they got better candidates with better ideas and bright ideas, like me, I'm running a grassroots campaign. And at the end of the day, I'm going to keep on fighting. I'm going to keep on standing, and they can't break me. Whether I win or lose, which I'm going to win, whether I win or lose, I'm going to be right back there fighting, because I've been fighting for 30 years. But a lot of people gets up there and say, oh yeah, after if I don't win, I'm going to be fighting, and they abandon the community. But if we got a man that's who call himself the councilman and has 3.5 years, and everybody know he's been disrespectful to his community, have brought harm to the community, and has benefited with his own real estate company called Nationwide Realty, that is a joke. And then he talk about blight when he got blighted houses and blighted properties. And as a councilman, when it comes to housing issue, if you're benefiting, you're not supposed to vote. The Eugene Green has voted, but he didn't recuse himself. And when we talk about a toxic land, I don't know if you know about Garden Plaza. The people of Garden Plaza, have been on that land when it came to a payout. Now, I got to give council people a prop. Not that I'm endorsing them, but I call it like I see it. So when it came out to pay the people of Garden Plaza, Eugene did? He didn't want to pay the people. You know why he didn't want to give them the money? because he had property on Garden Plaza that he was renting out. So if all the people move out, him and his landlord friends can't collect that money. But JP and Helena Moreno and a couple other members found the money, right? But you'd have thought that the council member from District D would have wanted to find the money, but he didn't. So when it come to Garden Plaza, they did, like a little get together because they're celebrating they got their money. Guess who popped up with a camera crew? Eugene Green. And they ran him off of Garden Plaza. And at the end of the day, he feel, Eugene Green, the council member, something is wrong with him. But at the end of the day, his chief of staff, Sandra Green, the council just voted against her because she was taking the city car, the taxpayer's car, putting gas on the weekend, driving the car around like her, when she ain't even on the insurance. And at the end of the day, the council had to go revote and stop her from doing it. Do you know Eugene tried to fight them 3 times just for his chief of staff can use a car? She makes $180,000 more than any council person on there. And at the end of the day, the council voted against him because you got to have, like a sheriff or somebody. The sheriff or the council members is the only people can drive the car. So it's telling you what Eugene Green is about. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what I tell people, if y'all want the same results, vote for Eugene Green. But at the end of the day, don't be complaining because he have showed y'all his history. He have neglected the community. And at the end of the day, you must hold him accountable. And the way you hold him accountable is by not voting him in. Same for other politicians. If you feel they didn't get the job, why do we go to the polls and vote for them every year after every year?
Well, that's one of my big beefs about the city, about the populace itself. The last registration figures that I saw was that there are some 265,000 registered voters in the city of New Orleans, which I think, frankly, is a inflated figure. In the last mayoral election, 79,000 people voted 4 years ago for mayor. That's roughly 29% of the people registered who actually voted. In other words, for every 100 people who were registered, only 30 people cared enough to get out, 30%. Get off their bums, and go out on a Tuesday morning or a Saturday morning or whatever morning it was when the last election took place and get out and vote and exercise their right as a citizen of the United States to vote. The question is, where are the other 70+%? Are they asleep at the wheel? Do they not care? That's the real question. So we've got to increase voter registration, particularly among high school seniors or juniors who are turning 18 or who have just turned 18. We've got to get the registration out. We've got to get young people invested in the system so that they realize that if they want to be around here for the next 40, 50, 60 years, that they've got to start fixing it themselves. And young people aren't stupid. We don't give them enough credit. Granted, some of them don't know where Lake Pontchartrain is versus the river, but if we instill in them, starting at pre-K, with a civics education, with an education of the city's history, good, bad, and ugly, education of the city's geography, its culture, its people, get them ingrained with the city. Let the gumbo be inside their blood vessels. Let that gumbo reach out to everybody else in this country to let them see that New Orleans is a city of honor and dignity and usefulness and grandeur like it used to be, like it started out and still could be 307 years later. That's what I'm thinking about.
And I think the same, but I think when we look at the other side of it, the people haven't had hope, and they got tired of the process. But we know it's their right to vote. We know it's your right to exercise your vote. We know your vote is your verse.
And God knows how long it took for your people to get the right to vote.
That's right. And the 1965 Civil Rights Voting Rights Act was passed, and we see that there's a study trying to tear it down. So what I tell my black people to vote is to get out, is your right to vote, go to the polls. And that's what we need in this mayor's election, because some people have died for my people to have the right to vote. And a lot of people were shot. We had 3 brothers in the civil rights era that was in the station wagon gun in Macomb, Mississippi, and they buried them in the landfill, and they killed them from doing register to vote. So I try to get a lot of people out in this election. I'm trying to get people amped up to vote, because you got to give them something to vote for. You got to give them hope, because they don't want the same results. At the end of the day, they're seeing the neglect. They're seeing how they playing with them. They're seeing how they lying to them. But this election, I think everybody going to show out in the city of New Orleans. We take Congo Square. Congo Square is still sitting there 20 years. We look at Treme, the area Treme is being gentrified. But at the end of the day, we got Lincoln Beach. We're looking at Lincoln Beach. They're bid rigging, they're scheming. And at the end of the day, all this should have been up during Katrina, but it wasn't up, right?
Lincoln Beach should have been finished 5 years ago.
So when you look that the popular voting population, we are losing the voting population. But what you're saying, we got to educate them. We got to have civil classes. We got to get on the street. We have all these parties. We had a Democrat Party. We had a Republican Party, Libertarian, but nobody teaching about voting. Nobody showing them how much their vote count. Your vote matters. You got to get to the poll. And some of these politicians don't want the people to vote because it's been corruption so long. So at the end of the day, they're trying to disenfranchise the vote. They're trying to use voter suppression. But at the end of the day, the people got to know in 2025, it's time to vote in the mayor's race. It's time to vote for a new councilman. Because if we don't, we got too much at risk to lose, and we can't go backwards. We got to go forward.
That's why this election, October 11th, is a once in a lifetime opportunity to change the direction of this city. If we don't do it now, this city is going to decline. It's going to go bankrupt financially. And people talk about climate change. There won't be enough people in this city to even be worried about climate change. City's going to flood. City's going to die. The big businesses will leave. The educational system will decline. The teachers will leave. It'll be one big below sea level hole. It won't be the Queen City of the South. That's why this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I keep stressing that to people. You've got to get out and vote. You've got to get out and vote intelligently. You've got to get out and vote with your mind, not towards popularity contests and personality contests, but you've got to get out and vote for the people who have the passion to lead this city forward. Forward, not backwards.
I agree with you 100%. I'm knocking on every door. Every time I see somebody, I'm talking about voting, and I'm pushing hard. And in District D, we're just not pushing for me to win councilman District D. I want everybody just to get out to vote. You know what I'm saying? Get out and vote. We gotta keep pushing that. We even got a voter registration office, right? How often do they go out to teach people about voting? They don't. They don't. So we got to do it. Right now, voting should be taught in the school system. You see what I'm saying? If we start them from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, civics, you know, when I was in school, it used to be fun. We used to vote for the king and queen. We had to go press that button for the machine, and we'll be trying to cheat to get our friend to win to get some extra candy. But we're not doing that no more. So we got to get back to the old way. And like you saying, we can't go back. We got to go forward, because in 2020, I think it was 2030, 2050, the experts say if we don't address climate change, we don't address the soil, or the land, or whatever in the water, guess what? It's going to be flooded in New Orleans. So this is a life or death situation, and we can't afford to get this wrong. So everybody got to vote. Everybody got to get out and vote and pick the best candidates that's ready to fight like never before. I don't call myself a politician. I call myself the people's candidate. I call myself the people champ, because in District D, that's what I'm going to be, the champ. I'm going to be the champ because I'm going to build District D like they never saw before. I'm going to lead on the council like they never saw before. And I promise them, if I don't do my job, vote me out, because it's not a job for me. It's about the people. It's about the kids. It's about the culture. It's about everything that we love about New Orleans. It's that gumbo we talking about, the real gumbo with the roots, with the sausage, with the meat, and everything thrown in the pot. And when I say everything, it means everybody together, working together to unify the city of New Orleans like never before. And when we build it, guess what? Everybody gonna want to come here. My dream is to do District D in New Orleans, where people from around the world come, from other cities, want to know what we did to change our district. And like most of the stuff we talking about, you see, so people will come to do that and educate, and that bring revenue to what? The city of New Orleans. It bring revenue to the city of New Orleans. But we got to take care of our locals first. That's what I'm saying. And then after, I'm going to bring so much business to District D like they never saw. And I'm talking about small businesses first. And when I fix the locals, then I'll bring other business people in. But I want the city of New Orleans workers, people, and everybody to have a shot at the contracts first. Like you say, everything going out of town. Our people not getting that. But just think if we open these training facilities. Just think if we open, like you said, the land on Delgado. Just think about if we got Suno, Dillon, Xavier, and all these colleges involved, and we billing and billing. Guess what? New Orleans going to be ready, because you're putting money in their pocket, you're educating them, you're making sure they can pay their bills, you're making sure they can put clothes and shoes and everything on their backs. And guess what? When we bill it, everybody going to want to come from around the world to see what we have done in New Orleans.
Because we'll have quality of life enhanced once again.
Right.
You know, one of the things that I've noticed, talk about the educational system, how it needs to be revamped in a lot of different ways. I look at Tulane University, which has been around for, 100 plus years. It has an endowment of $2.2 billion. That endowment earned in 2024, $130 million. How much of that revenue that they've generated has been dropped into the public school system in Orleans Parish? How many of their administrators and education students, kids spending $60,000 a year to learn how to be urban planners and teachers and economists and accountants, how many of those people are they dropping to the public school system to act as adjuncts to the teachers who are already there? Imagine if they dropped $10 million or $20 million, which is a drop in the bucket for their endowment and a fraction of their annual income.
That's right.
Tulane University pays this much in real estate taxes in the city of New Orleans. Zero. A goose egg.
Zero.
Okay? Now, city's got an immense accessible property base. Tulane University has got to have $500 million of value in their various buildings, all uptown and in their satellites. They don't pay a dime of real estate tax.
They don't.
Yet at the same time, they're charging kids $60,000 a year to go to school there to get an education. And granted, it's a grand education. It's a 60 grand education every year. Imagine if they took that expertise that they're building and dropped into the public school system. But of those graduates, how many stay in the city?
That's right.
How many stay in the city?
That's right.
I don't have any idea. But I bet you it's only a fraction because they're developing their talent, they're developing their expertise, they're developing their networking ability, and they're going to Atlanta, they're going to Houston, they're going to New York, they're going to Raleigh, North Carolina. I've got a buddy of mine in North Carolina. North Carolina, between Raleigh, North Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia, and Charlotte, North Carolina, they call that the Research Triangle. You know who is leading that Research Triangle? Tulane graduates. Tulane graduates. They left the city. They've abandoned the city. They've abandoned their heritage.
And a lot of children, when they graduate, add on to what you said from high school and the public school system in the city of New Orleans, they leave New Orleans. And the reason why they're leaving New Orleans is because of the conditions here. And New Orleans don't show whether it's Tulane, whether it's Suno, whether it's Xavier, where it's Dillard, whether it's Delgado, whether it's UNO, or whatever college, or Loyola. The people are leaving because we don't show them love. We don't have jobs here for them. And at the end of the day, it's too much friendship, corruption. So look, I have a son. Do you think I want my son to leave? I love my son, right? And he might leave and say, Daddy, right? But at the end of the day, my son is trying to survive. They got other kids trying to survive. And the worst thing, sometimes you worry when your child, out of town or whatever. But sometimes the kids gotta leave just to go other place and make it. I want to change that culture. I want to be able to stay in New Orleans and say, you know what? I can make it here because it's better. Nobody has sat there in the last 20 years and made it better for the kids, what you're talking about. They haven't made it better because these kids can go out of town and live good and don't have the problems we're having. Yes, some of the cities might have some of the problems, but they have better resources than the city of New Orleans. See, because sometimes you might have you might have the greatest person for the job, but they're going to go pick their child or somebody friend that's from another city and give them a job. So we breaking our children's dream. We are breaking the people's dream because we are not giving them jobs. Too much favoritism here. So when the favoritism come in and the nepotism, guess what? They gone to another city, but you're right on Tulane. See what you said, you broke it down, but that's too much like right. You thought they would have did that, right? They got big alphabets in their name, but look how you thought that. Look how we sitting there. They can't talk about the issues. We can't get them in one room to unify, whether it's the criminal justice, whether it's the mayor, the council, or whoever it is. They can't sit in one room. So you know what the graduates are doing? Hey, they can't get along, man. We getting away from this. We going out of town. We going where it's better at. You know what I'm saying? We got so much revenue and so much money in this city. And it gets me when they say we broke or we got a deficit or we got this going. Something ain't wrong. Something wrong. And so we're not stupid. We're not stuck on stupid, but they're stuck on stupid. They're stuck on stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because people are tired of this neglect. Every day you got to walk out your door and look at that street, look at the infrastructure. But they say they got billions from Washington, D.C. The last 20 years, they've been saying what? They're going to build the pumps. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And they're playing games. They're playing games. But listen, in New Orleans, I don't care who comes from New Orleans. I think we the brightest. I think we the smartest. I think we the smartest in the world. But everybody from New Orleans leave here and go somewhere else and do good. Is what you say. They leaving here because people giving them a better shot, a better chance at a job and everything. And that's the problem. We just solved the problem, but they can't solve it. So we need leaders in there that can sit and solve these problems and come together. We might don't agree, we might disagree, but at least we working towards or trying to accomplish this and have accountability, transparency, integrity. That's what we need on the council. We need a unified, and that's what I'm talking about. Put me in District D. We gonna unify. We gonna take it to the people and let them know the truth.
That's why this election is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I can't stress it anymore.
Neither me.
This is make it or break it time.
Make it or break it. and we need problem solvers. We don't need to keep putting a patch on a problem, putting a patch. Let's fix it from day one. Let's fix it from day one. Because if you count how much they done spent fixing or patching the road, or fixing or patching the sewage and water board, they could have fixed it the first time and we could have spent that money somewhere else.
This conversation that you and I are having today is going to create a fervor among people in this city when they listen to this conversation. And they, I think, will finally start thinking about leadership, about background, about quality, and stop thinking about the popularity contest and the personality contest. And they might finally wake up and say, we do not need the entrenched political dynasties, the entrenched political people who have been running the city for decades in front of the camera and behind the scenes with their backroom deals and their entrenched nepotism and their rampant stupidity. I think the people are finally going to wake up. And when they wake up, we're going to have a city again that's going to grow and prosper and give prosperity to everybody in the city. Black, white, yellow, brown, and gray like me. It's going to happen. Trust me.
I love it. And that's what I want to happen, and that's what I think can happen. And I think we can unify this city and make it one of the greatest where people can come say, you know what, we put the right people in office and they're fighting for us. I think that's going to happen. I think the right leadership in place, and all I want to do is fight for the people, make people happy, make the city I love happy. And that's all I want. That's all I want. And then after, I can eat a pot of gumbo and bring up the next young leader. Because when kids look, I want them to say, you know what? Belden, Noonie Man, Baptiste ran for council, or Mr. Frank ran for mayor. I can do it. You see what I'm saying? I can do it. We got to give them hope. We got to give them dreams. And at the end of the day, we're going to accomplish it. Our economics going to be strong. Our infrastructure will be strong. Our streets will be strong. Our roads will be strong.
And that's why I keep telling people, you know, as a practicing CPA with 52 years of experience, I'm the numbers man. And the two most important numbers in this election is number 22 for Mayor Frank Janusa and number 43, Belden, Noonie Man, Baptiste for Councilman District D. Those are the most important numbers on this ballot, this election. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change this city and make it prosper. Noonie Man, thank you so very much, and God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, and
we
God
will be
bless you.
united.
We'll be united.